Hi, I'm Jennifer Hollick with the World War II Research and Writing Center and the Ancestral Souls Wisdom School. And I have had such an influx of potential client calls for book projects in the last month that I thought it would be a good time to make a short video and also put some things out on my social media and my websites about book projects for veteran stories. So let's talk about this a little bit. Number one, when you are thinking about writing a veteran book, there are a lot of things to consider. So, in brief, the first thing to think about is who's going to write the book. Is that going to be you, or do you need to hire somebody? Now, my military research firm, the World War II Research and Writing Center, is the only military research firm that is actually writing books for clients and helping them publish. I do everything from writing, ghostwriting, developmental editing. I do the book layout and I prepare the files to upload on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu for private and public projects. So if you need somebody who does that, reach out. I offer free consults and we'll talk through your project and I'll give you all of your options. So, number one, who's going to write it? Or are you going to do the bulk of the writing and work with a military researcher like me who can help you fill in the gaps and finish off the story? Or do you need somebody to ghostwrite the whole book? And maybe you're going to write some small sections. You need to make that decision. Number two, what is the focus of the book? Is it one veteran story or is it his unit? Is it a different experience, a battle? What is the focus? Now, when you are writing about a veteran, and that is the focus of the book, then what I often recommend to clients is that we create an outline. And the outline will shift because the more research that we do, the more information we have, and we have to break it out in a way that's going to not overwhelm a reader. So, most of the books, of course, have an introduction. Then there is an early life chapter or short section where we are talking about where did this soldier, for example, come from? Because he didn't just drop out of the sky into a uniform. So we need to give a little backstory. Who are they? Where did they come from? What is their family like? Who were they before the war? Then we go into the part about they've been inducted and here's the training, and then they're overseas, and this is what's happening. Now, because my firm also specializes in ancestral healing, war trauma, inherited trauma, family patterns, what I am seeing a lot more of my students, my clients, and my book clients doing is also adding, after the war is over, what happened to that soldier for the rest of his life. And in some cases, these are more for private book projects, what happened to the family because of that veteran's experience. So more and more people are now talking about the fact that veterans did have a lot of trauma. They didn't talk about it, and it showed up in their realities in a lot of different ways. It could have been violence, alcoholism, drug use, abandonment, emotional shutdown, all kinds of things, right? That impacted everybody around them. So a lot of my clients are now writing about that. Maybe not in full disclosure, but enough to give readers and family members an idea of this is what it was like. This is what he struggled with. So there is that. Then also, how did he live the rest of his life? What did he do? What was his legacy or her legacy? So these are different things that you can think about as far as just an overall basic structure for a book. Okay, when it comes to book layout, a lot of people will write things in Word, they'll throw pictures in, it will get everything messed up. I tend to write all of my chapters in Word. They are individual chapters. And when the book draft, text only, has been edited by a professional editor, then I will do the book layout in InDesign. InDesign gives me the flexibility to be able to put things exactly where they need to go within the text or the book, and I can set my styles and everything, and it's wonderful. That then it allows me to create the entire book. I do the index, all of it. I prepare the files for Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Lulu, depending on what the project is for, public or private. I can do some cover design, although if you want something extensive, then we would have to hire somebody. And then I get you published. And once it's available on Amazon or Lulu or wherever, then you can order the copies that you need and promote your book everywhere, right? So those are just some overall things to think about. People also like a lot of photographs and images in the book, whether it's maps or something else that will just help keep the movement going through the text. And every single book project that I do with a client also begins with the research. So I developed a two-part strategy 16 years ago to research any veteran, even if the record's burned. You can read about this on my website and my classes. I've written more than 20 of my own books and countless client books using this strategy. So we do the research. We find the answers based on the client's scope of the book. And then we start the writing. Normally, how long does this take? Well, it depends on what your goals are, how much information you have. So last year, I wrote a book for a client in about, it was probably 9 months total, from a little bit of research because she'd already done a tremendous amount, to the writing, to getting the book published, going through the proof copies, making final changes. So it was probably about a 9 month. That is relatively short for a project. If I would have had to have done all the research before we started most of the writing, it probably would have been a minimum of a year. Last year, I did developmental editing and book publishing for another client that I started research for right before COVID happened. And then he took it from there because he wrote about his grandfather, and his grandfather lived a big life. So he had all of these other places he needed to research. So he did that and he wrote his own book. So that was at least a 6-year project because I think he was already thinking about this before 2019 anyway. So that was that. I have another fighter pilot book project that I've been working on for, by the time we publish it later this year, it'll be just under 3 years that we spent working on this. So again, it all depends on what your budget is, what your scope is, how quickly you need something done. I've been speaking to a lot of people lately who have their manuscript ready and they just need somebody to do that editorial review, make sure things are good, and do the book layout and publishing. That's great. I can offer you all of that. So, as far as costs, doing any kind of book writing and publishing is not cheap. You're going to be looking at probably a minimum of 10 grand and up from there, depending on how much research has to be done first, how much writing needs to be done, all the changes that go into the book layout, the publishing, the proof copies, all of it. So this is not going to be a tiny investment. And what I normally do with my clients is we discuss, again, the scope and everything that we want to do. We set a monthly budget and we go from there. So every project is different. If you have questions and would like to know more, my email is down in the description. Reach out. We can have a phone consult and discuss your specific book project and your questions and let you sit with it and decide what you want to do to move forward. If you are ready to start writing your book, then I have a program, Words That Heal, The Power of Writing a Veteran Story, that I am teaching at the end of this month, July 29th, 2026. Once that program has been taught, it will be available as a replay, and you will be able to access that later if you are watching this in the future. It comes with several workbooks. You get a private coaching session with me, and it also comes with a bonus webinar that I recorded several years ago called Breakdown. And that kind of walks you through and makes you question, how does the military and the genealogy research impact you on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level? Because when we are writing about war and death and wounding and tragedy, it can really wear on you. And not enough people are talking about this. So I've included that as a bonus with this program as well. So if you're interested, the links will be in the description. Feel free to share this with your friends. Reach out if you'd like a consult for research or book projects. And I hope to see you around on the next video.